Breathing in, I feel my body is peaceful. Breathing out, I smile. I really smile. My body peaceful, smiling. As I breathe in, I am aware that my body and my mind are dwelling in the present moment. As I breathe out, I feel this is a wonderful moment, present moment, wonderful moment. Breathing in, I am aware that I am breathing in. Breathing out, I am aware that I am breathing out. In, out.
Ladies and gentlemen, please arise for the Master. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the University of Hong Kong. And join us for tonight, the Zen Master Thich Nhat Hanh's Dharma talk, our appointment with life. And my name is Walter Nai, will be your masters of ceremony. It's my honor duty to ask you all to join me again to welcome the Master and his disciples, students from Plum Village. And before the talk, can I ask all of you to turn off your mobile phone because I still hear some sounds, and your pagers. Thank you for your cooperation. And now, may I introduce Professor Lee, Chairman of the Management Committee of the Center of Buddhist Study, to come on the stage and say a few words. Professor Lee, please.
Most venerable Thich Nhat Hanh, venerable members of the Sangha, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to the University of Hong Kong, and more important, to this public lecture by Zen Master Thich Nhat Hanh. By way of introduction, the Most Venerable has been a Buddhist monk for over 50 years. He is internationally very well known as a teacher, a poet, a scholar, and a peace activist. His lifelong efforts to promote peace and reconciliation moved Dr. Martin Luther King to nominate him for the Nobel Prize for Peace in the year 1967. He has published more than 80 books over the years. Many of them are on the bestsellers list. Last year, the most vulnerable visited Hong Kong and also gave public lectures at the University of Hong Kong at another location. The response was overwhelming, most enthusiastic. This year, we booked Lok Yau Hao here for the lecture, but it's quite clear that even Lok Yau Hall is not large enough to accommodate our enthusiastic audience. So we will have to try harder next year. As in the case of last year, the event is being sponsored and very generously supported by Donglin Gok Yuan, to which we are most grateful. The topic of tonight's lecture is our appointment with life. I guess there's no appointment more important than that. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, would you please join me in very warmly welcoming the most venerable Thich Nhat Hanh again. Thank you.
Dear friends, the monks and the nuns would like to offer a chant to open the talk. This is a chant invoking the name of the Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva of great compassion. Please allow the sound of the chant to enter into you, into your body and into your mind. Pay attention to your breathing so that you can remain grounded and present, and the sound can slowly make its way deep into you. If you have pain in your body, or if you have suffering that you are embracing in your heart, allow the chant to be like the arms of a mother embracing that suffering. Allow the chant to soothe the suffering in your body. If you have a dear friend and loved one who is suffering, mind, in order to help channel the energy of the chant to your loved one.
Let us enjoy our breathing with the sound of the bell. Breathing in, I feel alive. Breathing out, I smile to life around me and inside of me. My dear friends, when people are very, very poor, it's very difficult for them to be happy. But when people are very, very rich, it's very difficult for them to be happy also. I know many people who are very rich. They have told us about their life, their suffering. They are very lonely. They have a lot of worries, a lot of fear within them. To say that is to remind ourselves that not only the very poor suffer, but the very rich suffer also. Several of them committed suicide. And they are very powerful people, very wealthy people. Those of us who are not very poor or very rich, we have more chance. But first, I would like to say about the very poor. There are those who are very poor, but who are also happy. Among the very poor, you can count the monks and the nuns at the time of the Buddha. They did not have anything with them except the sangati, the ropes, a filter to filter the water. And many of them were very happy, just because they did not own anything. They did not have to worry much. And they only ate one time a day, at noon. You know, the monks and the nuns in the time of the Buddha, they went begging for their food in the morning. And before noon, they sat down in the wood. They enjoy the silent lunch together. And the Buddha did exactly the same thing. I would like to tell you a story that you can find in the sutras. One day, the Buddha was sitting with his monks and enjoying lunch in silence with them. It was not very far from the city of Vaishali, south of the Ganges River. They finished their lunch and they were about to start a Dharma discussion to learn more about the Dharma and how to put them into practice. A farmer went by. He was very unhappy. He was extremely worried. He asked the Buddha, "Monk, have you seen my cows passing over here?" The Buddha said, Which cows? What cows?" And the farmer said, "I have a number of cows, but this morning they just run away. I have been trying to find them, but impossible. Monks, I think I have to die. I have to kill myself. I suffer so much. I have only 2 acres of sesame seed plants, and this year they ate them all. The insects have eaten them all. I don't have anything to live on. I'm going to kill myself." The Buddha, out of compassion, told him very gently that he had not seen the cows passing by, and our farmer had to go to the other direction to look for his cows. After the farmer was gone, the Buddha turned to his monks. He looked at them in silence and then he smiled. And this is what he told the monk. "My dear friends, you are very lucky people. You don't have any cow to lose. The happiness of the monks is that they do not have any cows to lose. If you have cows and then you risk losing your cows, but if you don't have any, you don't have any risk. Many of us have too many cows. And we have believed that it is absolutely necessary that we keep these cows in order to be happy. But if we practice looking deeply, we see that many of our cows are the very obstacles for our happiness. We might like to take a piece of paper and write down the names of all our cows. And we have to re-examine every cow to see whether these cows are really making you happy or you are suffering a lot just because of these cows. Your idea about happiness is a big cow. You believe that you can be only happy if you have this or that. A certain nation might believe that such an ideology is absolutely necessary for that country to be happy, to prosper. That is a cow also. And that cow can make people suffer a lot. The Soviet Union had such a cow. And during 70 years, she had entertained and kept and grasped to that cow. And during that time, many people suffer. Every one of us has an idea as how we can be truly happy. And maybe that idea is the very obstacle for us to be happy. And if you know how to do like the Buddha, to release that cow, happiness can come right away. I have told you some of the people who are very poor, but who are very happy. The Buddha had a disciple whose name is Bhadya. He belonged to the royal family. He and a number of other young men from the royal family decided to become monks and to follow the Buddha after the Buddha's visit in the city of Kapilavastu. One day, Bhadya was sitting in meditation at the foot of a tree. And suddenly he pronounced these words, "Oh, my happiness, oh, my happiness," 3 times. Another monk overheard that. And the next morning he went to the Buddha and he reported that the monk Bhadya had pronounced these words during the night. He thought that Bhadya regretted to have become a monk, because before becoming a monk, Bhadya was a governor, very rich, very powerful. So the Buddha summoned Bhadya, the venerable Bhadya, and in the presence of many other monks, he asked Bhadya whether it is true that during the night the monk Bhadya had pronounced these words, "Oh, my happiness, oh, my happiness," 3 times. And Bhadya said, "Yes, Lord, I did pronounce that word 3 times." And the Buddha, in the presence of other monks, asked, Badya, can you tell us why you have pronounced these words 3 times? And Badya said, dear teacher, when I was a governor, I was very powerful, I was very rich, but I was full of worries and fear. I could not sleep during the night. I was afraid that someone will penetrate into my palace, my quarter, and assassinate me. I was afraid that they will come and take away all my wealth, my belongings, my money. Although I had a lot of soldiers, a lot of guards to protect me, but I was always afraid. Now as I have become a monk, I have no longer any fear. I have nothing to lose. And sitting under the foot of a tree, I felt a lot of freedom, a lot of happiness, a lot of peace. And that is the reason why I have pronounced the word, oh my happiness, 3 times. My Lord, if I disturbed someone among my Dharma brothers, I apologize for them. That story tell us that happiness, true happiness, cannot be without freedom. I'm not trying to tell you that you should be very poor in order to be happy. Because at the time of the Buddha, there was a very rich person, a business leader, whose name is Anattapinika Kapkodok. He was extremely wealthy. And he's one of the Buddha's favorite disciples. And he didn't suffer as a rich person because he knew the Dharma. The Buddha never said that you should not be rich. Being rich is a bad thing. The Buddha did not say so. About 3 years ago, in Plum Village, where we live and practice, we offer a retreat for business leaders. There are 400 of them coming from Europe and America and practice with us during 7 days. And they practice looking deeply into the life of a business man or woman in order to find out the roots of their suffering, and also to find out the kind of practice that can help them suffer less and begin to taste the joy of life. And all these rich people, most of them were rich. They practice mindful breathing, mindful walking, eating in silence, Dharma discussion, listen to Dharma talks. And at lunchtime, they go and serve their food. They have been asked to help cooking in the kitchen. And after eating, they help with washing the dishes with a lot of joy. At home, they never do such a thing, washing their own bowl, their own plate after eating. But that was the first time many of them had the opportunity to taste deep silence and peace. Because during the time of the retreat, everyone was requested to practice going back to the present moment in order to touch the wonders of life that are present in that moment. Most of the businessmen and women, they only think about future with a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety, a lot of uncertainty. They are not capable of being established in the present moment. They are not capable of taking care of themselves in the here and the now. They are not capable of taking their beloved ones in the here and the now. And that is why their beloved ones feel very lonely, very cut off from Him. And during the retreat, they have learned to live the kind of life where they can touch the wonders of life. They can look deeply into their life and to see whether they are the right path. A right path should bring them happiness and reduce the amount of worries and fear and anger in them. Many of them wrote us many months later, telling us that time has passed. They had been able to keep the practice, and they continue to have new insight just because of the practice of mindfulness. Because in a retreat, you learn things in order to bring home, in order to apply them into their daily life. In your daily life, it is possible for you to do mindful walking and enjoy every step you make. In your daily life, it is possible for you to enjoy breathing in and out while you drive your car. In your daily life, it is possible for you to hold the hand of your child and walk with peace and joy and become aware of the presence of your child. In your daily life, you can sit with your partner and become fully aware of her presence or his presence and enjoy that presence. And all these things we can learn from a retreat of mindfulness. Anathapindika, that rich businessman, was the person who offered to the Buddha the first practice center, the first meditation center in the kingdom of Kosala, north of the Ganges River. The name Anathapindika is not his real name. That name had been given him by the people in the city of Shravasti. Because Anathapindika had a very generous heart. He took care of the lonely people, the destitute people, the orphans, the old people in the whole city and kingdom. He devoted a lot of his time, energy, and material resources in order to take care of the poor, the destitute people. And people love him. And that is why they had given him that name, Anathapindika. It means the one who takes care of the destitute, the lonely. His real name is Sudatta. Anathapindika took a great deal of pleasure to serve the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. It was him that invited the Buddha to come to the kingdom of Kosala in order to teach. He had some problem with his family, some difficulties with his family. But because he was able to learn the Dharma and practice the Dharma, he was able to bring his family to a state of harmony and happiness. There were times when Sudatta lost all his fortune, become very poor. And that is the truth of impermanence. You cannot be rich all the time. Sometimes you have to get poor. But he was not afraid. He did not suffer when he lost everything. That is something you can learn from. Because during his life, he always helped people. He got so many friends, and that is why when he lost everything, well, his friends came to him and supported him and helped him to rebuild his fortune. He did not suffer when he was rich. When he was very rich, he did not suffer at all when he was poor. And that is thanks to the Dharma. The Dharma can help the poor people. A monk is supposed to be a poor person. A monk is supposed to be a happy person. And the Dharma can help the rich people to be happy also. And that is why we have offer a retreat for business leaders in Europe. Next year, we are going to offer a retreat for police officers in North America. We will also offer a retreat for movie actors and movie producers. Many of them are very rich. Some of them have come to our monastery in order to practice, and they have told us that these rich people, powerful people in the show business, they suffer very deeply also. And that is why they ask for a retreat of mindfulness. We have already offered retreats of mindfulness for psychotherapists. For helping professionals, doctors and nurses, and many other kind of professions. And the teaching of the Buddha can be applied to every section of our society. Political leaders, business leaders, they will profit a lot from the Dharma. And if they know how to bring a spiritual dimension to their life, they will suffer much less. They will be able to taste the joy of life, and they will be able to help many other people to be happy because they are powerful people. The Buddha told us that the past is already gone, and the future is not yet there. There is only one moment when we can be truly alive. That is the present moment. Many people cannot get away from the prison of the past. They always think of the past. They are not able to establish themselves in the here and the now and touch life deeply in that moment. The past has become a prison for them. Many of us have met such people. They can only live with the memories of the past. They are not really there, alive in the present moment. There must be ways in order to help them to get away from that prison and to settle in the moment where life is available. There are also a lot of people who lose themselves in the fear, the uncertainty concerning the future. They are so afraid of the future that they are not capable of enjoying everything that is refreshing, healing, and nourishing in the present moment. The Dharma can help. The Buddha said, there is only one moment when you can be truly alive, and that is the present moment. And you have an appointment with life, and that is in the present moment. Only in the present moment that you can touch all the wonders of life within yourself and around you. And the basic practice is how to get rid of your regret concerning the past, and of your fear and anxiety concerning the future. And the good Dharma should be able to tell us how to practice in order to be free. Freedom is the foundation of true happiness. We are not talking about political freedom here. We are talking about freedom from our afflictions, like a craving, like fear, like anxiety, like anger. The Dharma helps us to look deeply in order to understand the roots of these afflictions, so that we can free ourselves from them and begin to live happily each moment of our daily life. Let us enjoy our breathing, because we are still alive. We are capable of breathing in and breathing out, and become aware that the miracle, the greatest miracle of all the miracles, is that we are alive. In our daily life, our mind is not always with our body. Our body might be here, but our mind is elsewhere. It might be in the past, or in the future, or in our projects, in our worries. That is why we are not truly present for ourselves and for our beloved ones. By the practice of mindful breathing, we bring our mind back to our body, and very quickly. Suppose my left arm is my body, and my right arm is my mind. They go into different directions. And suppose this sheet of paper is my breath. When I begin to breathe in and out mindfully, my body and my mind come together. And our breath is a kind of bridge that links our body to our mind. And if you are a good practitioner, it takes you only one in-breath or one out-breath in order to bring your mind back to your body. And when your body and your mind are together, you are truly present. You are fully present in the here and the now. And you are fully alive also. And you are now in a position to touch the wonders of life. But it needs some training in order to be able to do so. There is a young man of 11 years old he was asked by his father whether what would he like to have as a gift, as a present for his birthday that will be the next day. The young man was confused. He did not know what to answer. It did not seem that he wanted anything. His father is a very, very rich person. He could afford to buy his son anything. But the son did not want anything. After thinking, he found out what he really wanted. And he said, "Daddy, what I want is you." Because the father, that businessman, very wealthy, is very seldom available to his family. As a rich person, he has to strive in order to continue to be rich. And all his time is devoted to his business. That is why he did not have time for himself and for his wife and his children. And his wife and his children found it very lonely. The young man does have a father, but he does not feel that he did not feel that he really have a father, because his father is very rarely available to him. When someone is caught in his or her worries, in his or her projects, he's no longer there, she is no longer there for you, and you feel lonely. If that gentleman knew the practice, he would go back to his breath and practice 1 or 2 minutes of mindful breathing in order to bring his mind back to his body. And then he would look at his son smiling and say, "My darling, I'm really here for you." And that is the greatest gift that you can offer to your beloved one. It's not the money, it's not a house, it's not a car, but your true presence. Your true presence is the greatest gift, the most precious gift you can make to your beloved one. How can you love without being there? Life without love has no meaning at all. You want to love and to be loved. And in order to love, you have to be there for yourself and for your beloved one. And to be there is a practice. And you don't need to do much. You need only to make a few steps mindfully in order to go back to yourself and become fully present, fully alive. Or you may need only to breathe in and out just a few times and become free. With a teacher, with a Dharma brother or sister helping you, you can do it in a few days. And you can change your life. Making oneself available to oneself is very important. Going back to yourself. Offer yourself space and joy. When you are able to touch the wonders of life, you are nourished. You can smile. If you can touch the blue sky, if you can enjoy the morning sunshine, if you have the time to contemplate the flowers, the lovely faces of children, and then you are nourished, you are fresh, and you have a quality of presence that you can offer to your beloved one. If you are full of worries, of fear, of anger, you have not much to offer to your beloved one. And that is why going back to the present moment, taking good care of yourself, nourish yourself with the wonders of life that are available in the here and the now, that is love. Because when you have this freshness, that peace, that joy, you have something to offer to him. You have something to offer to her. And that is something you can realize by the practice of mindfulness. When you are truly alive, when you are truly present, you can look at him, you can look at her, and you might like to pronounce this sentence, darling, I know that you are there, alive, and I am extremely happy. You don't need the other person to die in order to realize that she is so precious to us. You don't need to wait until that person to die in order to realize that he is very precious to us. Many of us wait until our beloved one die in order to regret, to realize how precious the presence of the other person is to us. Going back to the present moment, you become mindful. You become enlightened of the fact that the other person is extremely precious to you. And that is why you can look at her, you can look at him with the kind of eyes that is full of love. You treasure his presence, you treasure her presence, and smiling to him, smiling to her, you say, darling, I know you are there, alive, and that makes me very happy. You don't need any money at all in order to do so. Happiness is made of these small things, not so small. They are very important. Every time I look up at the full moon, at the stars, I practice the same. I become aware of their presence. I thank them for their presence. Every time I do walking meditation, I make mindful steps. And I realize that walking on earth is a miracle. To be alive and to be walking on this beautiful planet is a real miracle. And that is possible only when you are capable of dwelling, of establishing yourself in the present moment. When you drink your tea, you might like to drink it mindfully. To drink your tea mindfully, you have to bring your mind back to the present moment. And during the time of tea drinking, you are free from the past, you are free from the future, you are free from your project, your fear. You are truly alive, truly present for the tea. When you are real, the tea becomes real, and during that moment, life truly exists. When you breathe, when you breathe in mindfully, when you breathe in, and if you know that this is your in breath, that is called mindful breathing. When you walk, when you make a step, and if you are aware that you are making a step, that is called mindful walking. When you drink tea, and if you are aware you are fully aware that you are drinking tea. That's called mindful drinking. Because you are absolutely established in the here and the now. That is why you can live that moment very deeply. And the wonders of life reveal themselves to you very deeply. Suppose you have an orange and 10 minutes. You might organize a session of orange meditation. You can hold your orange in the palm of your left hand and you look at it. If you have enough of that energy called mindfulness and concentration, the orange in the palm of your hand will reveal herself as nothing less than a miracle. An orange is a miracle of life. That flower in front of us is also a miracle. Do we have the time to get in touch with miracles of life that are available all around us and even inside of us? The heart that is beating in us is a miracle of life. Breathing in, I'm aware of my heart. Breathing out, I smile to my heart. My heart still functions normally. What a chance. Because many of us, many people do not have a heart that functions normally. And the deepest desire is to have just a normal heart. We have a normal heart that functions normally, but we are not happy about it. We have many things like that inside of us that are wonders, but we have no time in order to get in touch with them. And we always complain that we have nothing to be happy about. If you take a piece of paper and try to write down the conditions of happiness that you already have, you'll be surprised. The list will be very long. To have eyes still in good condition is a very basic condition of happiness. Imagine that you have lost your eyesight. You cannot see anything, including the lovely face of your child. You are living in a paradise of forms and colors just because you have eyes still in good conditions. But with that paradise of forms and colors, you still complain that you have nothing to be happy about. And with a heart that functions normally, you don't know how to treasure it. You smoke, you drink alcohol, you give your heart a hard time. You destroy the conditions of happiness that you are having now. Many of us believe that we need a few more conditions in order to be happy. But if you look back, you realize that you have already enough or more than enough conditions to be happy. And that is why you are invited to do this exercise. Maybe tonight, take a sheet of paper and write down the conditions of happiness that you already have, and you will be surprised. Maybe you need 2 sheets of paper or 3. When you look deeply into the orange, you can see the orange tree, the orange blossom, and the sunshine and the rain that went through. And you can see already a tiny orange, a green tiny orange. An orange tree took several months in order to create an orange for you. And the orange coming from the orange blossom, and now in the palm of your hand is really a miracle. And you, the one who is holding the orange in your palm, you are also a miracle. And that realization, that kind of enlightenment is possible when you go back, only when you go back to the here and the now. When you become real, your orange become real also. And you take the time to peel the orange. You take the time, because peeling the orange is a wonderful thing. It can give you a lot of pleasure. Peeling the orange and smell that wonderful scent. It may take you 15-20 minutes to eat the orange, but that during the period, the time of eating the orange in mindfulness, in concentration, happiness can be very deep. And that we call orange meditation. In Plum Village in France, we practice walking meditation every day, together as a Sangha. And I love to hold the hand of a child and to walk with him or with her. We enjoy every step we make. We touch the wonders of life all around us. A child always gives me a lot of pleasure. Her freshness, his innocence, penetrate into my body, my consciousness. And the child profits from my stability, my calm. We profit from each other's presence. We do walk meditation. We enjoy every step we make. There are times when we do walk meditation on the hillside, 3,000 people, 4,000 people. Everyone is silent. Everyone is making mindful steps, touching the wonders of life. Last year, in the city of Frankfurt, Germany, 4,000 people practice walking meditation in the heart of the city. The police were very kind. They blocked a few boulevards so that we have place to do walking meditation. It was a general assembly of the Protestant church. Hundreds of thousands of people came to the city in order to celebrate that occasion. I gave a talk about how to enjoy the wonders of life. And then we did walking meditation together in the city. During the walking meditation, it is our freedom that bring us our happiness. Freedom from the past, freedom from the future. We are capable of getting in touch with the wonders of life in ourselves and around us. And we enjoy every step. Every step brings us more stability, solidity, and freedom. In Plum Village, every time you need to move from one place to another, no matter how long that distance is, you always apply the techniques of walking meditation, always moving in mindfulness. Going from living your living quarter, from your hut to the meditation hall, you apply the techniques of mindful walking. You enjoy every step. You are not in the meditation hall yet, but meditation already started. Of course, every day we have a collective walking meditation hour, but throughout the day, every member of the community, when he needs to move from one place to another place, that person always apply the techniques of walking mindfully. And that is why we get the nourishment every moment of our daily life. Nourishment and transformation, they go together. If you do not get the good nourishment, you cannot transform your suffering. And you need brothers and sisters in the community to support you in that kind of practice. If you come to Plum Village and stay with us for a week or two, you naturally learn the art of mindful walking, because everyone else is doing that. It would look strange if you don't do it. You slow down and you begin to enjoy your steps, and you become a habit of being happy. If you have a staircase in your home, I propose that you sign a peace treaty with your staircase. You make the vow of going up mindfully every step and going down mindfully every step. And having signed that treaty with your staircase, you cannot violate. If halfway you realize that you have made one step not with mindfulness, you go down again and begin again to work up. Or you go up again in order to begin to walk down. Every step should be solid, should be free from the past, from the future, and your worries. You may ask the question as, if we don't think about future, how can we assure a good future for us and for our children if we only think about the present? What is the future made of? The future is made of only one substance, the present moment. What else can the future be made of? And that is why taking good care of the present moment, the best way you can, is about the only way to take care to assure a good future. If happiness is possible in the present, true happiness, I mean, and then happiness will be assured for the future. That does not mean that you are forbidden to make projects for the future. No, the Buddha advised you not to get lost in the future with your worries, with your fear, with your uncertainty. But you do have the right to make plans for the future. To worry about future does not help. It will harm the future. To be afraid of the future does not help. It will harm the present and the future also. So what is the practice? The practice is to make plan for the future with your intelligence by being grounded in the present moment. You are free to make plan for your future, provided that you are still grounded in the present moment. You don't allow yourself to be carried away by your fear and your uncertainty, your anxiety, that's all. And also, there is a relationship between the past and the present. Usually we think that the past is no longer there and we cannot do anything in order to heal the past, to repair the damage we have done to the past. But in this practice offered by the Buddha, it is possible to repair the past. Because looking deeply, you realize the past is still there. In the form of the present. The damage you have done in the past is still there. The suffering is still there. you still suffer because the wrong thing you have done in the past. And that is why, establishing ourselves in the present moment, we can touch the past. And there's something you can do in order to heal the past. Suppose in the past we had said something unkind to our mother. And now we regret very much. But she is no longer there for us to apologize. And you say that you cannot do anything about that, and you continue to suffer and suffer because of the mistake you made in the past. According to this practice, it is possible to heal the past. Sit down, follow your in-breath and out-breath, and look deeply. You realize that your mother is still alive in every cell of your body. Your mother has transmitted herself entirely to you, and she is fully present in every cell of your body. You are the continuation of your mother. You are your mother. It is like when you plant a seed of corn, and the seed of corn gave rise to a plant of corn that will bear 2 ears of corn. And these 2 ears of corn, you find several hundreds of grains of corn. And looking deeply into the new grains of corn, you see the grain of corn that has given life to the plant of corn. And you can see that previous grain of corn is fully present in every other grain of corn. So scientifically, you can say you are the continuation of your mother. You are your mother. A psychotherapist in London has written a book with the title "My Mother, Myself." That is true. So to be angry at your mother is to be angry at yourself. And then after having looking deeply, you realize that your mother is still fully present in you. And you can speak to her, "Mother, I'm sorry that I have said that to you. I vow from now on I will not say anything like that anymore. I'm determined." You can see your mother smiling inside of you, in every cell of your body. And that is why, according to the Buddhist teaching, you can even heal the past and repair the damage you have done in the past. To live in the present moment does not mean that you have no right to learn from the past, that you have no right to plan for the future. That's not true. You can learn the past, or you can learn from the past, and you can make plan for the future by being grounded completely in the present moment. And that is a training, that is a practice that everyone should do, including business leaders, including political leaders. Dear friends, I have offered you a few concrete methods of practice, a few exercises. The practice of mindful breathing, the practice of mindful walking, the practice of mindful eating, the practice of mindful looking in order to repair the past and to plan for the future. With a Sangha, with a community practice, with a teacher, you can deepen that kind of study and practice, and you'll be able to go back to the present moment, get the nourishment and the healing that you need in order to have something precious to offer to yourself, to your beloved one, and to our society. The practice of mindfulness is the basic practice of a community of practice. We do everything in mindfulness, whether that is cooking, or washing, or working in our center. The kitchen is also a meditation hall. A monk would lead the meditation in the kitchen. He is the chief cook. He may be assisted by other monks and other laymen or laymen. And during the time of quick cooking, they practice mindful breathing. They practice silence. They should be able to enjoy every minute of the cooking time. Of course, when they need to communicate, they can communicate in mindfulness. They don't need to talk much. And before starting a session of cooking, they offer the incense in the kitchen in order to show their determination to practice mindfulness during the whole time of cooking and to enjoy every minute being in the kitchen. When you work in the garden, you do the same. You try to be mindful and joyful and to get the nourishment you need every minute of your life. And that is why it is absolutely possible that we can apply the practice in our daily life. When you drive your car, instead of thinking about the future and entertain your fear and your worries, you go back to the present moment and smile to yourself, and smile to the city, smile to the trees and the sky. When you want to make a telephone call, you can practice what we call telephone meditation. Before making a call, touch the telephone mindfully and begin to breathe in and out. Bring yourself back to the present moment. Enjoy 3 times of in breath and out breath. That make you calm and that increase the quality of your conversation with the other person. We have a poem that we use before we compose the number. Words can travel very far. They can establish good communication. I vow that my conversation will bring joy and friendship between us. You can write your own poem in order to use for your telephone meditation. And after having practiced breathing in and out 3 times with that poem, you can begin to dial. And if you are the one who is receiving the telephone call, go back to your in breath and out breath. Enjoy your in breath and out breath when you hear the telephone ringing. That is what we have done in Plum Village for nearly 15 years. When you telephone Plum Village, you cannot expect people to answer, to pick up the phone right after the first. Never. We never do that. Because when the telephone rings, we stay where we are. Even if we have a portable phone in our pocket, now we practice being there and enjoy our breathing. Because the sound of the telephone replaces the bell of mindfulness. And you practice like this. I listen. That is breathing in. This wonderful sound brings me back to my true home when you breathe out. My true home is in the here and the now. And the telephoner has become a bell master, helping me to enjoy going back to my true home, the present moment, in order to enjoy my in-breath and out-breath. Don't worry. If the other person really has a very important message to tell you, she can wait. She will not hang up after the first sound. And when your telephone sounds for the second time, you can still enjoy your in-breath and out-breath. And that makes you calmer. When the telephone rings, there's a light disturbance happening to you. There's a vibration inside. Who is calling? Good news or bad news? You are not very peaceful. And you want to find out right away. You are weak, you are not strong enough. Therefore, the practice is to resist and to enjoy your breathing. And by breathing, you make yourself calm. And that will be not only for your sake, but for the other person's sake also. Your conversation with him or with her will have a better quality. Suppose in Hong Kong, everyone practices telephone meditation. Hong Kong will be a much better place to live. People will be much calmer, happier, and we don't need extra money in order to do that. This is a project that the city council can take up. It needs some education. I believe that we should bring a spiritual dimension to our daily life that will reduce a lot of suffering, that will help people to enjoy more their daily life.